This is Bulgarian World, the podcast where my guests and I talk about Bulgaria and have a good time overall. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you learned something new and interesting about our country that you did not know before. For those who are new here, welcome. I'm your host, Peter. Just like you, I love our motherland, and I'm interested in learning more about it and its traditions. Every week, I ask you guys, what topic do you want to be covered in the next episode? Last week, we discussed Bulgarian politics, a topic that was very interesting for me and my friends. Today, as many of you suggested, we're going to talk about Bulgarian music. I have invited a child prodigy, owner of more than 7 guitars, my good friend Stefan Paronov. Welcome to the show, Stefcho.
Hello, Pesho. I'm also glad to be here with you. And I don't know if you knew, but I have listened to many of your podcasts. And because of that, I'm really excited to share my knowledge about Bulgarian music with the listeners.
Well, thank you very much for listening to the podcast, Stefcho. And let's begin today's episode.
На кого е нужна китара без струни? Закъсняла нежност, пленени думи.
The first genre we're going to talk about today is Bulgarian pop music, created during the communist period, or in other words, between the 50s and the 90s, also known in Bulgaria as Българска естрадна музика. It was very popular back in the day, and I'm sure that most of our parents have enjoyed it. Stefcho, who do you think are the most popular singers from this genre? What is so special for this type of music, and what's your opinion on it? Do you like it?
So, Pesho, I'm sure that most of our listeners know the big names of Lili Ivanova, Vasil Найденов, Emil Dimitrov, Margarita Hranova, and Orlin Guranov, just to name a few. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Also, about the question that you asked me about the like special features of the genre, I can tell you that the singers are in the main focus, not the whole band, and also the name Estrada in Bulgarian comes from the word stage, and that's because of that. It's mainly this genre is centered around dance music. In my opinion, this music is great because it has a really nice vibe, and I really like the lyrics because they're very deep and meaningful.
Well, thank you for mentioning the part with the strada that comes from stage. I did not know that. And also, I think I really like this music. It's very melodic, and I find it mesmerizing knowing what my parents listened to when they were younger. Nowadays, this music isn't very popular,
Yeah,
but we continue to hear it on the radio, so it's not at all forgotten. Now we move on to a topic that is very interesting and maybe you're going to enjoy it very much,
yeah, I will.
and that's rock and roll.
Себе си открих и знам, да те обичам, това е моята сила. Паднеш ли ще бъда там, до теб.
Certainly, one of the most famous and loved music genres, it has a massive influence over what Bulgarian music looks like today. Stefcho, I know that you're not only a big fan, but also a performer.
That's true.
So, so what what is special about this genre, and what is your opinion on it?
So, the thing that I love the most about this genre is the use of distortion guitars. Also, the use of guitar solos, which also could be encountered in the Bulgarian pop music genre, but I think they are more, or in other words, they are in another level in this genre. Also, opposite to again Bulgarian pop music. Here the whole group is in the spotlight, and now I will tell you. about some of the more famous bands that, again, our listeners probably have heard of. BTR, Signal, and the band Sturzite, which are considered the founders of the rock genre in Bulgaria. And generally, this music has heavier vibe, which I really love. And mm, yeah, because of that, it's one of my favorites. I love the raw sound, and because I'm a guitarist myself, as I've said, I love the guitar solos. Also, I should mention that this genre was actually formed as an alteration of the pop music that we have talked about, but also of the American influence after the end of the communist regime.
Hmm. And when it comes to myself, as you know, I'm not the biggest fan of this genre, but I appreciate most of the songs of the group BTR because I love the band. And as you know, it's the whole genre, the rock and roll, is very popular today. So next up, we're going to talk about folk music. Now, please don't confuse this genre with pop folk, also known as chalga. We're not going to talk about this today. We're going to talk about the Bulgarian native or traditional music, something your grandparents enjoyed for sure.
So I don't know if you're aware of this, but the artist in the song that we just heard is called Stevka Sabutinova, and you can hear how talented this woman is. Um, I actually don't listen very often to this genre, and because of that, I don't know many performers. Although I know the most famous of them, for example, Vala Balkanska, whose song is on a record that actually is in space, and also Любка Rondova.
Well, I don't know about Lubka, but for sure I have heard of Vala Balkanska and her record that is something very interesting that it's flying through space at the moment. So tell me, what's so special for this genre?
So the special thing about this genre is its prominent feature um, to use the native instruments, which really makes it stand out from the other genres and gives it this really interesting feel that could not easily be recreated.
Hmm. I completely agree with you, and that's why most people that listen to this genre love it. So what do you know about the period of this genre and when it was first founded?
Well, that's a very good question because actually this genre is the oldest of any Bulgarian music genre, dating it dates back to the period known in Bulgarian history as Възраждане, or in English, this could be translated as Bulgarian Renaissance. Um, and because of that, I think it's really fundamental and important for the survival of the Bulgarian traditions. And overall, actually, yeah, as we have heard from the short music in the beginning, this style of music is great.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and it's really a shame that this beautiful music is so unpopular now in Bulgaria. But let's not end on a low note. We should mention that this music is technically not dead at all, because as you may know, last year one of the most prestigious music competitions, The Voice of Bulgaria, was won by a girl that represented this exact genre. Thank you for being my guest, Stefcho. I actually learned some interesting facts about Bulgarian music that I didn't know, and I hope to see you again soon on the podcast.
Thank you to Pesho. It was a really interesting experience being here with you. You have been a great host, and I would love to come here again and talk about some other interesting stuff.
Well, I look forward to that. So, this is the end of today's episode, guys. As always, thank you for listening. I hope you have learned something new. And if you have any questions regarding the topic, please feel free to ask. Also, what should we discuss next time? That's all for now, and until next time, be happy and stay positive.